What is up, guys? Today I'm gonna do a review of the Epiphone SG, the classic SG model. You can clearly tell this is the SG, obviously by its color, but also because of this demon looking fang, or demon looking, what do you call this thing? Horn looking thing. The reason why I wanted to review this specific guitar is because this is an older Epiphone, and I'm not really a Gibson Epiphone type of guy. I'm more of a Fender player, but this was a Korean-made Epiphone in the mid 90s, I think. This is a 96. The serial number starts with U96, so I'm assuming it's in 96. I'm not really sure about the history of like the Epiphone, but nowadays, like the current Epiphone models, a lot of them are made in either like China or Indonesia or Taiwan. I have no idea, but I know that, you know, 90s and like early 2000s, Epiphone outsourced some of their Epiphone guitars to Korea and maybe Japan. I'm not 100% sure about that, but Korea for sure. You know, right off the bat, my first impression of this guitar is, by the way, I got this guitar like 2 days ago, and I played it maybe like 10 minutes, but my first impression is, dude, it's pretty light. It's like, if you haven't seen my other review of the Gibson Les Paul recording, the 1971 Les Paul recording, dude, that guitar was fucking heavy, dude. It was like, immediately when I picked it up, I was like, oh shit, like this is like 10 pounds. But this is like, dude, this feels like I could hold it like this, and that's pretty hard to do for a guitar. This feels like 5 pounds, dude, like 6 pounds is really light. It kind of made me wonder. I was like, dude, did they use real wood? Like, I don't even know if this is wood. There's a chip on this side right here, and underneath the chip it's wood, but dude, the quality of the wood is not really good. It's not really high. I'm not sure what this is called. This may be a laminate. I'm not really sure what a laminate is, what it really is, but it's like an inferior quality to real wood. But the body is just, dude, like the neck I feel like is heavier than the body. Is that usually normal? I'm not sure. But the neck for sure is real wood. I could see it clearly, but the body is just like dude, like I could hold it like that. That should not be possible for a guitar. Or I guess it depends what kind of guitar, but for like my American Strats, my American Tele, the Gibson Les Paul recording, dude, hell no. I cannot hold a guitar like this, hell no. But you know, apart from just like the physical, like the structural quality, I played around with it on an amp, and it sounded pretty decent. It sounded pretty good, actually. So maybe it's not only the wood. I'm assuming it's the pickups are pretty important as well. And I could see why, you know, there's the difference between Gibson guitars versus Epiphone guitars in just terms of quality. I mean, if you look at the hardware, like these knobs are really cheap plastic. Gibson knobs, you know, these are like just minor details, but like Gibson knobs are, you can clearly tell that the quality of the plastic is much higher. You know, when you turn a Gibson knob, it's like you actually feel like you're turning something. This is just like, it just feels like a cheap guitar, you know. And it's pretty funny to say this because the last two guitars I've reviewed are guitars that are easily worth over $2,000, you know. The 81 Walnut Strat, the 71 Gibson Les Paul recording, and this is like 200 bucks. You know, you can clearly tell why the price is 10 times lower than the other two guitars I've mentioned. The headstock, it has the classic, I don't know what this is called. This was on the Les Paul recording as well. It's like this crown logo, kind of like a Rolex logo. The Epiphone logo, but they use the Gibson named truss rod cover, which is, I like it, but I don't know why. The thing I never really understood about Epiphone is the fucking headstock. Like, why not just use the Gibson headstock, dude, and put the Epiphone name? Like, why would you make this weird ass headstock shape? You know, why not just make it the normal, like Gibson, like the open book cover headstock shape? It's just, I feel like, dude, I feel like if the entire guitar was just the exact same, but they just changed the headstock logo to a Gibson style, but just put in, instead of Gibson, put on Epiphone like this, bro, the sales would be tremendously higher, in my opinion, because it's basic, dude, people buy a Gibson because of the brand name, you know? Like a Squier and a Fender, they're, you know, two completely different brand names, but the headstock shape are the same. You know, the Affinity Strats, the Affinity Squier Strats, the headstock is a little bit fatter, kind of like a 70s headstock, but you know, they look the same, but I don't know why they made it completely different. Another thing about the SG, that's really like, I don't know if it's like a love or a hate, but dude, it's just like so thin. Like a Strat is pretty thin, but dude, this is just like, I don't know if it's the same size, but it just feels so thin, dude. Another thing I don't really like about, or maybe it's not I don't like, or maybe I'm just not used to it, is, dude, like, dude, since the neck is heavier, like when you just place it like this, dude, the guitar just falls down. Like there's so much weight on this side, so it's not, like the weight isn't balanced. It's just, like, I don't know if it's because I'm not used to it, but it's just kind of weird. Like I always have to like prop it up. I have to put in the extra effort to actually like put my arm up like this and play it. But like I said, you know, once I plugged it into an amp and started playing, like it sounded pretty good. For like a sub $200 guitar, I mean, this is an excellent purchase, but you know, just from a quality standpoint, like, dude, like I really don't know if this is wood, dude. They show like the wood grains and stuff like that, but dude, it just looks like it's been like printed on, kind of. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain without you physically seeing it in person, but, and even the back of the headstock, it's not, like it's the cherry wood color, but dude, it doesn't look like wood. I don't know what it is. The tuners, dude, yeah, the tuners are pretty cheap as well. The last owner, he took out these two tuners and swapped it for Gibson Deluxes. So these two tuners are actually really good quality, but the rest of them, the stock Epiphone ones, are just really cheap quality. You can tell, like, if you feel this plastic, it's just really like I could just literally just break it off like this without any, I mean, with a little bit of effort. I don't know, an SG is just, like, I've played like a vintage SG at like a vintage guitar store, like I think it was like an early 70s SG, and dude, it feels completely different. Like it was actually fucking heavy. But the same thing was this thing. It was the other SG I played was also there was more weight on this side. So I don't know if that's an SG thing or if it's just like for this model, but you know, since I've been only playing Fenders for the majority of my life, like I feel like a Fender, I may be biased, but I feel like a Fender is just like, the Strat is just like the most well-rounded guitar. It's just so perfect. I don't see a flaw with that guitar. Like if you put it on your lap, it just stays perfectly. It feels so comfortable right here when you play the Strat. Like the Les Paul, maybe it's because I only play like 80% sitting down, but dude, the Les Paul, it doesn't feel comfortable right here. Like it hurts. So like sometimes I have to like move it around or I have to like stand up. This is actually not that bad. The SG is actually more comfortable than the Les Paul, hands down, for me personally. But yeah, Epiphone SG made in Korea. Quality, this guitar is pretty beat up actually. I think the dude, I don't know if he was a musician, I don't know if this is gig, but I could tell that he just like didn't really give a fuck about this and just like put it in his room for like hella years and just like, cause there's like hella, I don't even know what this is. It's like, it doesn't even look like a belt buckle rash. Like I don't know what this is. It looks like, you know, if you put plastic under a flame, it like kind of like manipulates the plastic. It's kind of like that. I don't know. I have no idea what the hell this dude did. You know, and just in terms of just like sound, it sounds pretty good. I mean, obviously I don't have it plugged in, but actually let me plug it in. Let me plug in this shitty portable amp. It's hella out of tune. Another thing about this guitar I realize is, dude, I feel like there's hella frets. It's just like feels longer with 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22? I feel like a Fender Strat has like 21 or 22, but I don't know why, it just feels longer. Yo, this is this is like a completely different guitar from a Strat. Like I said, in terms of like a sound perspective, it's pretty good, but just the build quality of this is just not really, I mean, I could see why you would pay $200 or, you know, around that range, because the build quality is just not high compared to a Gibson, but maybe that's why it's called an Epiphone. I don't know if I personally buy an SG, but it's an interesting guitar.